All right, for this tutorial, I'm going to show you all about the moose knot and give you some really cool tips and tricks. Okay, when you first make up your moose knot, but here I have a 31 inches of 2mm cord. So regardless of like what thickness you're using, this is a really good like thing to do. So so let's say you have them like even on the end, you put your cord on and then you put your pendant in. But when you actually do it for real, you want these to be offset. But the by first doing it this way, it'll give you the amount of offset that you need for future necklaces. So let's say we clip this in and put both the cords behind. And let me zoom in. And then what you do is you take a peg and you wrap your cord. And I'm going to do a 3 wrap. So this is considered 1 already. So the one around the upright peg is 1. There's 2. And then here's the 3rd one. And then you hold it. And there's like a little tunnel that you made in there. So then you feed your cord through. But it's really important that you use your finger to hold it in place so that way it doesn't like pop apart. So you feed your cord through. And then you like pull and tighten. And one, if you're using a thin cord, this needle, wrap around the needle instead, and then feed the cord through the eye of the needle and then pull it through. I'll do like a demo of that in just a second. So this is going to be like offset by, see that? That's what we don't want when we're actually doing this. But right now we're going to get some really useful information. So about right at 5 1/4, 5.5. You know, it doesn't have to be like exact. So when we actually come back and do this for real, we want to offset those cords by about 5.5 inches. So let me take this off, and we are going to redo it with the offset. And it's really important that, you know, if you're like changing size of cord or you're changing the number of wraps on top, that you do that first so that each consecutive one that you make will turn out perfect. So let me get this ring here. So I'm going to offset by 5. It was about 5.5, 5.25, just somewhere thereabouts. And now when you come back, you want the long side on top. So we're going to clip this in, and we are going to do it again. So there's that 1, there's 2, and 3. All right. Oh, I just love this knot. So take the peg out. Remember, your finger is like kind of gently like holding it, and then you feed your cord through just like that and pull. Now the ends should be about, let's get this tight. There we have it. And let's check it out. Ooh, beautiful. Wow, I nailed that one. I mean, sometimes a little bit off, but that was really good. Wow, I'm impressed. So you see how that happened? So when you did that first one, you got that offset because you had them like exactly the same, and that's just write it down. Or you know, once you've done this for a while, you'll have it memorized. But the interesting thing is on this very, 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 very thin cord, I had them, you know, the same on the ends, and the offset is let's see what it is. It's 4 inches. So the generally, like I just like have it memorized. If it's 1 millimeter or smaller, I just automatically offset by 4 inches, because it's just good to be able to memorize that. So when you're working, you don't have to like stop and, you know, think and look at your notes. But the other really cool thing that I use this specific knot for is for finishing the ends of like necklaces. Like I'll put attach like clasps, rings, toggles, whatever you want to put on the end. I like to do it with the moose knot, and I'll show you like how to get them even, like equal distant on both sides. So what I do is I measure 7 inches. And the thing about the moose knot, you know, I can understand where it can get confusing. And, you know, I've got a lot of customers that ask me, like, where does that extra inch come from, Sandra? And I'm going to like explain that. So right now I'm measuring 7, but when I'm finished with it, the distance will be like 8 inches, like from the top. So I'm going to mark this, both of them at the same time, so I know that, you know, when I do my folds, they'll be even. I'll show you that. I'm going to put this clasp on. And remember that any findings that you add will add to the length. So, you know, you might want to like calculate for those. So right there, right there's the little tiny spot. And that's, this part is really important because when you do it here, like the clasp and stuff, you want to get the fold and get it like right in the middle of the, let's see how it's like right in the middle of the bite of the clip. See that? That is what you want to do. And then we're going to come in here and with this a short side, and to make it successful, you want about like maybe like 6 inches like on your end, regardless of like what length you're going to make it. So let's come in here, and we have I think there's about like 5 or 6 inches in there. So I'm gonna do 1, there's 2, there's 3. So it's basically the same thing, except, you know, this time we're gonna have this little short end that we're going to melt off. So I'm gonna come in here. Okay, that extra inch right in here, there's 1 inch, and there's 2 inches because it's folded. But when you like unfold and you tighten and then you slide it, see that? That's where that other inch that comes from. So now this should be about, yep, 8 inches from, let me zoom out so you can see that. See, so there you get your distance of exactly 8 inches. And then you do the same thing to the other side. So let's do that. You know what? I'm going to put let's put a ring on there. And you can put anything you want on these ends. Okay, just let me talk about a couple of things. You could just make the moose knot, not put anything at all in there, and just keep it intact with glue. You could put a ring. You could put toggles. You can, let's see, what else can you put? Oh, if you could put chain, extender chain, and the clasp. So there are a variety of different things that you can do to, you know, depending on what you're making. So I'm going to come in here and remember, I mean, this part where you have to like fold like right at the tip, just like this, that's for when you're doing the end parts, but it's not so much the you know, the pendant part. So we're going to come in here and wrap once, twice, and hold it and feed this through. Tighten and slide it. And if you're using leather, because the cord that I'm using for this demo, this is synthetic, so it can be melted, and I'll show you how to do that. But if you're using leather, you'll want to put a little bit of glue and then like slide it up. And not, the glue that I like is the GS Hypo Cement. I used to use super glue, but I'm not so much a fan of it anymore because when it dries, it's like almost like crystal, it's like crunchy. And the GS Hypo Cement, it stays like flexible. So what I do now is I fluff this out, and let me get a lighter. And please, if you're using a lighter, you know, use caution, especially if you're, you know, if you have children or. So I just like to fluff it out and kind of, and I just wait like 3 or 4 seconds, blow just to where it's like nice and like hottish, warmish, and then I come in and I tap it. So it keeps the, let's see, can we get that in focus? Right there. See that? And then I'm going to do the same thing to this side. And the amount of cord, you'll not a whole lot, but not too little, because the that cord, I mean that melt spot is what's going to keep the knot from coming apart. So let me fluff this out and let's melt this. And I'll give you a couple of other really cool things that you could do with whoops, low, cool, and tap, tap, tap. If you're not used to this tapping, you just want to be careful and not burn your finger. You could put like something on your finger, or I don't know, maybe a Band-Aid while you're tapping it down. So now you've got yourself a nice, pretty necklace with the really cool. Let's see, get this focused. There we go. The moose knots, and then you have the moose knot in front. And I want to show you something else that you can do with moose knot, which is really cool. You can add a bead in the front, and the way you do that, it's let me. I'm going to steal this one here. Now I actually got this idea from my sister. She's quite clever. So you take, let me get like 31 inches of cord. You know what? I'll use pink. Why not? Let's try this pink. We got 31. And the length that you'll be making yours. I mean, this a demo piece I made with 31 inches of cord, and the final length was 16 plus 1 inch for the with the clasp. I think that's you know what? Let's measure that. Yeah, it's about a little over an inch, because once you start adding in your findings and stuff, it adds to the length. So if you're looking to make, something in the 16-inch range, then, 31 inches of cord is what I used. So let's do this one. So you feed the bead, the cord through the bead, pendant, and then back through the bead, just like this. And then our offset, remember, was about 5.5. So let's do that. So there's about, there we go. Long side on top. And don't let it fool you, because it's happened to me. And okay, so in this one, the offset will be a little bit off, but not so, it's not going to be like so bad. And then we, let's do it just for fun. Let's do a quadruple wrap. Just because I'm mainly showing you just how to get your, like an extra bead on there. So whoops. That one that's what happens when you take your finger off, but that's all right. I have it under control. Okay. So you tighten that, slide it down, and check it out. Isn't that cool? And some of the ideas, I'll give you some ideas of things you can do. Okay, for example, you could take let's say you have something like this, like a tiny like thing you want to make into like a bracelet. You could do a moose knot on this side, one on this side, and then do a finishing knot. And there's no time like the present. I think I'm gonna, and I'll put a chapter marker in there. But I'm gonna let's do a project. Let's do a bracelet. So here I have this little carnelian thing, and I'm going to use like a 0.5 millimeter faux leather. So let's just do it. And I'm gonna take about, let's see, about 10 inches. So let's see, is that right? So there's 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's do this. So I am going to put this in here. And I know that with the 0.5, the offset is 4 inches. So let's do an offset of 4. Okay, right there. And you're going to say, girl, that does not look right. But trust me, it's right. So then you put the long one on top. And wrap it around. And let's do this. So since this is a really thin cord, now we're going to use this needle. I'm going to come in here and wrap. I'm going to do 2 wraps. Okay. Take the, oh, wrong way. So that needle, so you want to put the your string into that eye of the needle and then pull it through. Because some of the stringing materials I work with, they're even like thinner than this. So you tighten it and then slide it down. So then, okay, I've got like half the bracelet done. See that? And then we take 10 inches and we do the other side. So there's 8, 10. Isn't this fun? Offset 4 inches because it's at the 0.5. And let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's clip that in there. And let's do this. 1, 2. And I do a lot of silversmithing and I make a lot of, this one I didn't make, but I do make a lot of my own little charmy type things. This is my favorite it's thing to do with them because it's simple and it looks nice and it's just like perfect. Okay. So now this is 10 inches and all we have to do now is put like a slide knot on the ends right in here. And then you have yourself a bracelet. Check it out. And I'll do well, I won't get into the slide knot, yet, but, I just want to give you this idea because I cover in the slide knots, I do coil knots, macrame knots, and a couple of other things. But isn't that cute? Should I do the knot, guys? You want to see a knot? Okay, let's just do it. Okay, you can't, I gotta do it because it's just too cool. Okay, let's just do this. Okay. So this one's interesting. I'm gonna do the coil knot, and it's a cool knot. So let's get this on here and then this on here. And I mean, I know that the purpose of this demo was just to like do the moose knot, but you'll see this knot pop up like several times. So you take about 5 or 6. This is about 6 inches of cord, and this one it's kind of similar to the moose knot. But this one, you hold your peg. You know what? I'll just do the peg. And then you wrap around the peg, just like this. Let me get this out of the way. And I'm going to wrap 5 times. Okay, that's 3, 4, maybe 4 times. 5, let's go 5. Okay. Okay, really important. Since this it holds it really well. You want to put your finger underneath and see how I'm kind of pushing it up. Very important. So I'll just like hold it in case you've never seen this done. So I've wrapped it around the peg. I put my finger underneath and then I take this out because I want that little tunnel. Let me see if I can get like a mirror in here so you can see it. Let me see. Oh yeah, see that? See that tunnel right there. Okay, perfect. So what you do here is you feed this side in this way, just like that, gentle, and then you feed the other side in the other way. Okay, and then you snug it down. And see, the thing with a lot of these techniques, it's kind of like you can't like do one without the other. Like I don't think I could have like made this bracelet and just said, so sorry guys, that's it, it's over. So you squeeze it and then tighten, squeeze it and then tighten. And when this one will have to be melted. So I always put like these knots just to mark it, just to let me know which ones to cut. Okay, so now I'm going to, let's get this off. Okay, so let me do a little recap. Moose knot, moose knot. I'm going to stretch this out, but make sure and don't pull it all the way through because you still need to put like your little finishing knots on the end. I just do as close to the end, only in that if, because most of the time these end parts will get cut off. Let me move this so that I can focus better. So this one here, okay, let's come in here. So the one that has the knot on it, that's the one we're going to trim off because I want to finish this neck. Now this part is you want to like melt it, but don't tap it, because when it's a coil knot, it's a little bit different than the other knot. So this one you don't want to tap. Okay, so I think it's cooled off enough. Now I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. So you've got to finish the bracelet. Oh. Okay, I'm going to come in here, and sometimes it's so hard for me not to tap it. I just want to go from force of habit, but no, got to be patient. Okay, now, so there we have it. And then, just only because I'm making this very, very basic, I'm just going to put like a little knot on the end. I'm not going to do anything fancy. But in future lessons, you'll see all the fancy like things that I put on the ends. You could make like fluffers. You could add like a knot. Just like all kinds of things. Okay, so there it's done. So like the 2 moose knots, and let's put it on. Ah. Oh my gosh, isn't that cute? Oh, so anyway, that's the basics of the moose knot, and some of the things that you can do with it. I mean, there are, like I said, there are other lessons along the way where like for braiding, I do like moose knots, and and just like all that good stuff. Anyway, that is it. Moose knot. I think you've got it. I hope you got it. And if you have any questions, email me. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson.